Hey guys, what's going on? Sherman here. I wanted to do a full review of my Blackhawk Serpa holster for my Kimber 1911. Now I have done a couple of videos on this holster. You guys may or may not have seen them. If you haven't, I'll put a link in the description to both of them. But I've done a couple of videos regarding the overall safety of this holster in response to a lot of people's questions that I've seen on forums, I've seen in videos, or comments people have made saying this holster is unsafe. They know somebody who knows a guy who has had accidental discharges with them. And those videos were just regarding my opinions on the safety of them. So I don't sound like I'm beating a dead horse. I'm not going to go into a lot of that in this review, but I will touch upon some of the safety pros and cons of this holster. But if you want to know my full opinions on them and whatnot, I will put a link in the description to those two videos. Alright, so right off the bat, let me just show you guys, this has been safety checked. There's no magazine and no round in the chamber, just for a lot of you safety sallies. But that's good. You always want to be safe even when recording a video. And I'm not going to sit there and point the barrel at the camera. I know some guys do that and a lot of people freak out about it. I'm not going to not do it just to not make people freak out, but there's just no need to do that, and it's just not good practice. But anyway, so why would you want a Blackhawk Serpa holster over another holster? Well, mainly preference. It just depends on what you prefer. I've had a couple of holsters for this pistol. There's this Uncle Mike's inside the waistband, this kind of neoprene, very soft, flimsy material. It's comfortable, it works, so there's an option. Of course, a lot of you guys know the options of, leather holsters. Is another inside the waistband holster. I forget what brand this is, but leather. And the one that I primarily use for conceal carry is this holster. It's Tegu, however you pronounce that. I'm really not sure. But it's a outside the waistband holster, goes on your belt, and it has a retention strap. So this thumb release retention strap. Works great, I like it, but I wanted a separate option. Just, to see what I might like better, and I've heard great things about the Serpa holster. I've always wanted to try one, so it's at my local gun shop. They had, in my opinion, a pretty good deal on this. I got it for about 40 bucks, which I think is a good deal. Most places that's about what you'd pay, but then of course you'd have to pay for shipping. So you may find some cheaper, some more expensive. I think it varies depending on the firearm. Anyway, why would you choose a Serpa over any of these? Well, like I said, it's just preference. Maybe you are just looking for an outside the waistband holster, because that's what these are. They're outside the waistband. They are not good for summer conceal carry. I've tried it. These, you cannot put a shirt on. As you see, it is very wide compared to something like this. It goes on over the waistband. Let me take the pistol out of it first. You can see that's going to be up against your side, as opposed to something like this. You can see it sticks out. It's kind of hard to compare. I might do a comparison video some other time. But anyway, this is a lot easier to conceal. It's up against your body. It's flat because you put your belt right through here, so it's sitting right up against your belt and your side. This, your belt goes through here, rides up against there, then you have all this sticking out. So it's not awful by any means. Trust me, it's not like it sticks way out and you're afraid to walk around because you might run into something. But I'm saying for conceal carry, it sticks out a little bit more than I prefer. I don't wear baggy clothing. I wear clothes that fit my body. So it's very hard to wear a t-shirt over this and conceal it. Everybody's going to know what you have. Even a button-up shirt, because here again, I don't buy extremely large, baggy button-up shirts. You could if you wanted to. If you wanted to try to conceal carry this in the summertime, great. Here again, it's what you prefer. But for summertime, this is primarily going to be an open carry holster. Some people might not have a problem with that. I don't prefer open carry personally. That's just my preference. But in the wintertime, here I'm going to show you guys in a little bit with a jacket on. It conceals wonderfully, of course. So, if you're going to wear a hoodie, if you're going to wear like a sports coat or a jacket, this will conceal fine. Is it going to conceal better than an inside the waistband? No, it's never going to be. Sorry, take a sip of coffee. So that's just one point I want to make about this. Also, why would I want this? Well, because other options, like maybe you're talking about safety, other options like this inside the waistband, this inside the waistband. Do you notice there's something that these two holsters lack? they don't have any retention. All it is it just slides in there. It's friction fit, basically. Now, yeah, they're not going to fall out, but if somebody were to see this on you, or maybe you're going to open carry, it's kind of hard with inside the waistband, but somebody comes up, they're taking your pistol right away from you. Is that a very common scenario? No, but it's something that you have to think about. If somebody, like I said, maybe somebody sees it, they could grab it very easily. Also, sometimes maybe you go to sit down after you've used this holster a lot. Maybe you go to sit down or you jump around, do the hokey pokey. I don't know what you're going to do, but there is a chance that the pistol might slide out of the holster. Now this one I haven't used that much, and it's a very tight leather holster. This one, I mean, it just kind of slides in there. There's really nothing holding that pistol in there. So that one is kind of unsafe in my opinion. With the Serpa, it has a locking system. Put it in there, it locks. Holding this straight up. Pull on it, it's not coming out. I cannot foresee anybody, if they saw this on you, come up and grab it and rip it out of the holster or even off of your body without you quickly responding. So that's a great plus. That's why a lot of officers, a lot of our Leos prefer to use something like this holster or the 511 thumb drive that has a button locking system, but it's back here instead of this this index switch. But a lot of them go to that because, of course, they open carry. They don't want perps to come up and grab their pistol out of them like has happened. I don't know if you guys remember about 6 or 7 years ago, a man by the name of Brian Nichols. It was here in Georgia. He was being tried of child molestation, and he was in a courtroom with a female court guard, and she was an older woman, and of course they left a dangerous man in there with one woman. It was not a good decision. Tragically, she had a just standard holster like this that had a simple snap retention system. She wasn't paying attention. He reached up, unsnapped it, pulled her pistol out, her sidearm, and shot and killed her. Very sad and tragic. He shot a few more people and then fled from the courthouse. Anyway, that's another reason why you might want to go with something like this. It just adds a little bit more level of security. It adds at least one more level of security for you. So you have that peace of mind knowing, okay, nobody, a kid can't come up behind me or something, try to grab it. Somebody's not going to see me at the store with this and try to grab it off of me. Unless they absolutely know the ins and outs of a bunch of different holsters and know, oh, okay, that's a Blackhawk Serpa. I know how to go up and depress that switch and, extract it. So they're probably not going to be able to figure that out. So you have that extra level of security. Also, if you like to do what I do and you go out in the woods, you're hiking and whatnot, I always like to carry a gun on me. I have a license, I can, so I do. You never know what kind of wildlife you're going to come across, or people, whatnot. Any kind of danger, you just never know. You're hiking around, you're climbing over things, rocks, logs, whatnot. You're going to be jostling around a little bit. You're not going to have to worry about this sliding or shifting and your pistol falling out of the holster. I have heard of people losing their firearms in the woods because they had a holster system like this, an outside the waistband or even an inside the waistband that had no retention system, or had a retention system and it just wasn't on there properly. So like I said, this is just a little bit of peace of mind. Pistol goes into the holster, you hear that snap, it's locked, and it is not coming out until you consciously depress this button. So as you can see, it has a little lip right here, so nothing can really bump into this to depress that button. It takes a pretty good amount of force to depress that button once the pistol is in there, and you have to depress it pretty far to get it to release. So, and it also takes you pulling on it also, because it is kind of a tight fit. So anyway, the holster is not Kydex. Kydex is another great option, but a lot of those are just positive retention. It has no locking system. It just retains in the holster. You can still pull it out. Some people make them with locking systems or just a simple strap system like this, which is fine. That's another good option if you're looking into something different other than nylon or leather. But that's going to be pretty pricey. A good Kydex holster is going to run you about 80 bucks, 80 to $100. But anyway, this is just a very high grade polymer, very thick, very sturdy, and I've never heard of anybody's breaking. They do come with a warranty. I'm not sure how long the warranty is. I think it's like a 5-year warranty, something like that. You can go on their website and look that up. But it does come with a warranty registration card. Has a little screw right here, which I think tightens the retention a little bit. Maybe if the retention gets a little bit more loose, you can tighten it. Or maybe to take it apart, I'm not sure. I honestly have not tried it because I don't want to have anything come loose in this holster. But of course, here's the button. That is your locking system. It's kind of like this little seesaw action going on. It's on a spring. You depress this part right here. I don't know how well you guys can see. You see, you depress it. You see that right down there has that little polymer little block. Here again, like I said, I don't know how well you guys can see with the lighting. But what that does is it encapsulates the trigger guard of your pistol. So you depress that and it traps the trigger guard. It also has this little piece of plastic down here. It also helps trap the trigger guard in there, and just kind of fills in some extra space to keep it from rattling. But it is an extremely simple system. You can see it's very smooth in there. I have not had any sheath wear with this particular holster because it is so smooth and slick down in there. Another thing I really liked about this holster is the amount of options that it gives you. They sell a bunch of different attachment options for this, so you can carry it on a drop leg, so you can carry it on your plate carriers. There's a lot that have the MOLLE attachments, so you can carry this up against your chest. So it has those options, but also when you buy this particular holster, now they did sell one up there that was about $80 that did come with the thigh harness attachment, along with these two attachments, I believe. But like I said, I'm not going to worry about carrying it on a thigh harness or drop leg, anything like that. I'm not going to worry about it. This is perfect for me. But anyway, it comes with this paddle outside the waistband system, and I'm going to show you how it looks on me in just a minute, how it works. But basically, that is going to go up against your hip. It's pretty comfortable. Here again, I'll talk about that in a second. Has this little hook built in. What that's going to do is it's going to catch the inside of your pant material. And it has these two little prongs that you have to manually set in there yourself. And you can set it to different height if you want. I just put it on the very bottom. What you do is you put them in there, you take a coin, as it said in the instruction book, and you turn it and it locks them into place. Those aren't going anywhere. And what that does is it traps the bottom of your belt so that when you're retracting your pistol, the holster doesn't move upward. It doesn't come with you. The holster doesn't come up with you. So, also a really neat thing about this is it has 3 screws. You loosen them and you can actually cant this part that goes on your hip. Or, I'm sorry, this stays stationary. But you can kind of cant the holster itself in kind of different positions. I positioned mine just one slot over, so that when I'm carrying this on my right side, the pistol is angled kind of upward towards me. Here again, I'm going to show you that in a minute, guys. But so it does give you a lot of versatility. So I like that. You can kind of reposition it different positions. You can have it straight up. You can have it canted to more one side or the other. Now, one more thing I wanted to mention is that this is a right-hand carry version. I'm pretty positive they make left-hand carry versions, but I've only seen these right-hand carry. So you're going to have to go on their website and look up that. It also comes with this other attachment. Here again, it's very nice quality polymer. And this is just for straight belt carry. If you don't want to worry about kind of the outside the waistband paddle carry, it does have this also. And it has these 2 attachments that you can unscrew and move up and down, and that's to accommodate for different sizes of your belt. So, or you can take them off completely, and I believe that will accommodate most of your duty belts. So, I personally don't prefer this kind of carry system because what it does is that it carries the entire load of the entire weight of your pistol and all the ammunition and all that stuff. It carries all that weight straight on your belt. So all that weight is being distributed on your belt alone. With this paddle system, it's up against your hip and it distributes the weight over the waistband of your pants and your belt. So it's not just supported on the belt. It's actually being supported. The weight is being distributed throughout your whole pants. So I like that system a little bit more. It feels a little bit more secure and it's more comfortable. Also, a lot of times when you're carrying, especially something as heavy as a 1911, when you're carrying a 6+1 45 caliber ACP, it gets heavy. So a lot of times when you have something like this, when you have it on your waist, it tends to want to slouch because the pistol's in there, it's kind of top heavy because of all the ammo in here. It's going to want to slouch outward like this. So what this does is it kind of stops it from pivoting because it's up against your hip, so it kind of blocks it from slouching over. However, if you were to wear this belt system, wear that belt attachment, nothing's going to stop it. It's just going to kind of slouch outward and be a little bit more obtrusive. So just wanted to mention that, but they do give you two different options depending on what you prefer, so I think that's really nice, especially with the price point. Something else I wanted to mention is that they're very specific in how they sell their holsters. I think it's a great thing, but you're going to want to have to test this out. The great thing about gun stores is that a lot of times, you know, you can just ask the guys, hey, can I try this holster out if you bring your firearm with you, and they'll be real nice about it and let you. But anyway, as you can see, this says this is a Serpa holster, right hand, matte finish. You can get them in different finishes for a Colt 1911 and clones, with or without rail. They do not sell one specifically for, you see the Kimber Pro CDP2. Obviously, because there's a bunch of different models for Kimber. So thankfully the 1911 style doesn't really change. Whether it's a Kimber, whether it's a Colt, whether it's a Rock Island Armory, if it's a SIG, all these 1911s are going to be pretty much the same exact dimensions, because 1911 is the style of pistol. So I just wanted to mention that. It can be very specific, or it can be as vague as that, or clones. So I didn't know at the time if they made a one specifically for Kimbers, but no. If you have a Kimber and you want to get a Serpa holster, just try to find a Serpa holster that works with 1911s. It's pretty much going to work with all of them. But like I said, if you do happen to find these at a gun store, bring your pistol with you and try it out for yourself. So they're very cool about it. Usually. Alright, let's talk about the safety aspect of this holster. Like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse because I've talked about this a lot. But a lot of the people that I've seen complaining about this holster, you know, I have had an accidental discharge, or I know a guy who's known a guy who had an accidental discharge. You know, they've heard horror stories about this. Let me just explain. And like I said, I've said this in my other videos, but I'm just going to say it again in this review. When you grab a firearm, this right here, this should always be your natural grip. Doesn't matter if you're holding a shotgun, rifle, anything with a trigger. When you grab a firearm, your index finger should always be extended and placed on the frame or trigger guard. Now some people will tell you to extend it outward, but just as long as it's not in the trigger guard, always rest your finger on it or above it. Never inside of it. Your finger only goes in the trigger guard to fire a round, or to decock the weapon if it doesn't have a decocker. But of course, be safe. Okay, that being said, that was why this holster was designed. They wanted to go with a locking system, but make it extremely easy to unlock by the user, which this is. Look where my hand is. When I grab the pistol, my finger goes right over the trigger guard because this button is placed right over the trigger guard because that's what's locking it. All you have to do is press firmly downward with the bone of your finger, the flat of your finger. Press down, pull out. See, look where my finger is? Still resting on the frame. So this is my natural grip when I grip this pistol. Put it back. See? That's why it was designed this way. This is not my opinion. This is not other people's opinion. This is Gun Safety 101. When you grab a firearm, that should be your grip, no matter what. That should be your grip. Now, am I saying that accidents only happen to people who are stupid? No, not at all. Accidents happen, guys. Accidents happen. You could train for years. You could be a very well-known firearms instructor and still have an accident with a firearm, with this holster, and whatnot. And if you do, I'm not saying that you're an idiot. But what I'm saying is that if you have had an accidental discharge, or you know somebody who has, you cannot blame the holster because you were not using it properly. So like I said, I'm not saying that if you don't like this holster, then you're wrong. If you don't like this holster, then you're not trained properly. I'm not saying that if you have an accident that you're not well trained. Accidents happen. That's why they call it an accident. Like I said, all I'm trying to say is that if you have an accident with this holster, it's not the holster's problem. It's not the holster's fault. Because as long as you're doing this, there's no way you're going to have a problem with this holster as long as that's your grip. If you have the habit of curling your finger inward to depress a button, it's human nature. It's human nature to depress a button with the tip of your finger. Like, I'm not going to purposely do this to prove my point, but I'm just going to show you. See where my finger went? With depressing the button with the tip of my finger. It's going to bring my index finger inside the trigger guard and press the trigger every time. So, finger extended outward. And then there's no way your finger's ever going to curl into the trigger guard, causing an accidental discharge. Also, let me just show you this. If you guys still think, you know, the Serpa is unsafe because of that reason, here's just a simple inside the waistband holster, no retention. If you grab a firearm this way, which is the way you're always supposed to, and extract it, see where my finger is? However, like I said, if you have the habit of your finger not being fully extended and straight and kind of curled inward, you're going to pull that out, and your finger is going to be closer to the trigger. So, like I said, if your habit is curling your finger like this, you're going to have a problem with any holster. Not just the Serpa, not the Blackhawk or the 511 thumb drive. You're going to have a problem with every holster if you do not properly hold a firearm in this manner. So, as simple as that, guys. This holster is not unsafe. It is only unsafe if you do not grab it like this. And I'm not saying it's unsafe to the improperly trained, because like I said, accidents happen. I'm just saying that the only way you can have an accident with this holster or other holsters is because of your doing, not the holster's design. Real quick, another thing that I really like about this design, it has a molded piece of polymer right here that's actually taller than the button. So you really can't bump into anything to depress the button to, you know, make this come out a little bit and extract it prematurely. Okay, so here's how it looks on. As you can see what I was talking about earlier, I did kind of cant it forward a little bit because it just seemed more natural, and I went to go reach back. My hand already wanted to kind of, you know, reach back like this motion. So it just seemed a little bit more natural, as opposed to when it came, it was just vertical. I felt like I had to move my hand back like this to grab it. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it is a little bit different, and I just kind of prefer it canted forward. But of course, that's up to you. I don't really recommend it either way. It's just up to your preference, what feels more natural to you. Now, what I like about this outside the waistband, on the waistband itself carry, as opposed to the straight belt carry attachment that it has, that also comes with, is that you're going to be limited to where you can reposition your holster depending on the position of your belt loops. So as you can see, I would only be able to position this between these two, and I couldn't move it around at all. Because like I said, the belt loop is going to block it. So you're kind of limited to where you can move it around. But this one, as you can see, I can move around if I wanted it more towards the front of me, which looks kind of silly to be honest, straight on my side, or you can move it, there we go. I can move it straight back, and it's almost like an SOB. So, a lot of different configurations, but offers a lot more versatility. So I definitely like that. But as you can see, like I was saying earlier, it's kind of hard to conceal. You end up printing a lot. So in the summertime, I really don't recommend this for conceal carry. But in the wintertime, if you're wearing just a simple jacket like this one, it conceals beautifully. You can't see it, no printing, works just fine. So if you're going to wear a jacket, if you're going to wear a hoodie, sports coat, or even a large button-up shirt, it's going to be just fine. So, highly recommend this holster, guys. I love mine. Definitely shop around because they offer these in different sizes, configurations, colors. There's different versions, newer, older versions coming out. So I honestly don't know which one I have. I think I have an slightly older version. But like I said, just shop around, guys. You're going to find a Serpa that works for you. There's a Serpa for everybody. Alright, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments box, guys. Alright, everybody stay safe, stay sharp, and God bless. Sherman 614, peace.